Blessed Bannerlord, you have battled your way to the top, and now you stand ready to take the final monumental step from vassal to monarch. This can be a rocky transition, and success largely depends on being prepared. I know you're running around like a little lion singing, "I just can't wait to be king." But before you take the leap, let's talk about what you will need to succeed. The first thing is money. Money is power, and you are going to need millions of dinar. I like to have about 2 million dinars on me before I start my own kingdom. This also includes making sure my fiefs are built up and garrisoned, my personal army's built up, and I have my own clan parties established and built up. And the reason you want those clan parties built up is because on top of having about 2 million in cash, you're also going to need your own royal army. The number one problem I see people have when they become their own kingdom is they get steamrolled because they're not able to defend their territories. It's going to be very difficult to defend your territories with just your own personal army. You're going to need to be able to summon a big army that can crush enemy armies in the field. If you go stuff yourself in a fief and hide behind your walls, that army's going to trap you in there during the duration of that siege, and then the rest of their nobles are going to run around and torch your villages, and you're just going to fall apart slowly. You have to be able to crush large enemy armies in the field. And so when it comes to creating your own personal royal army, the key things are policies and clan parties. The first thing you'll want to do when you declare your own kingdom is farm up 200 influence so that you can pass these two policies. I'm not going to go through all the kingdom policies because Strat has a guide on these that is just amazing. So it's down in the description if you're wanting more info on policy, and I suggest that you watch it all the way through because some of these policies don't even work and a lot of them just completely suck. And he has a tier list there and he goes through each and every one, and I could do that too, but there's just no reason. He covers it perfectly. And so I suggest you watch that video down in the description. Give my boy a thumbs up and subscribe. We love our stratty. These two policies I do want to point out though, because you can see right here, tier 5 clans get 40 more troops, and the ruling party, which is you now, gets 60 more. And so if you're a tier 5 clan, and I don't suggest you start your own kingdom until you are, then you're going to get 40 from this policy. And then, of course, because you're king, you're going to get 60 from this policy. So this is an extra 100 troops to your personal army. On top of that, we can create our own clan parties outside of our own. And this is what I call the royal army. This is going to be your personal army that you pay for. And I have a couple different leaders. I actually have another guy that's in a castle that I could put him out there too. It depends on the foes you're fighting. If you're fighting empire armies, you're looking at 8 to 1,000 member armies, but sometimes those Aserai or Valandian armies come out and they got 12, 13, I've seen up to 1,600 something, almost 17. So there's times when you're going to need to have a huge battle and win. Now remember, my 421 troops here are elite. And then because I'm running this AI party controls mod, I can really set the behavior and types of troops and everything here. So this is a huge advantage to have this mob. But even if you don't, and you're playing on console, it's fine. Just make sure you create your own parties. The benefit of having those personal parties is here. I've got my own, but then look, it doesn't cost me any influence. I click on that, and then here they come. And the Aserai just declared war on me. So here's one member coming. And there's the other. And now look, I've got a personal stacked army of 744. And that's what you're going to need to get started. And again, I would suggest being able to create a personal army of even more than this, because you may need it depending on who you're fighting. Another great thing is that if I need to rebuild the cohesion, it doesn't cost me any influence. And so between those policies and my own clan parties, now I have my own personal royal army that I can roll around and kick ass with. The big reason you're going to want a lot of cash when you first start out is because there's times when you're just going to need to buy peace. Haven't got your policies up and you're still building up your clan parties or whatever, and you're just getting set up. You're already going to be at war with the faction you broke apart from, and then other factions are quickly going to declare war on you because you're not going to have as much strength as they are, and they're going to want to take the opportunity to go ahead and carve you up. And what you can do is, if you have 100 influence, and this is why you've got to start building your influence quickly, because you've got policies to pass and you're going to have peace to make. But if you've got 100 influence, these guys just declared war on me. And look, for 75-80 a day, I can get peace with them. And it'll last for a little bit. And then they'll declare war again, and I can make peace again, but this number will become 10K and then 12K. And then, it'll just keep going up until you eventually fight them and get them to surrender to you. And so if you're at war with two factions, buy the cheapest peace you can, and then get to work crushing the other one. And then it's not so bad because you're making a ton of money off these big battles. Truly, just a ton of money. And you'll easily be able to cover this. But between your clan parties, all your garrisons, and the peace you may buy, and you may have to buy peace with 2 or 3 other factions, this can start to add up quickly. The further you beat them down and the more nobles you capture and the more damage you cause, and especially if you can start taking over their towns and stuff, this number will come down. And eventually, if you beat the crap out of them, they'll pay you for peace. And so you really want to just buy peace with factions until you crush one, and then they want peace with you, and then you'll settle on that peace, and they're paying you tribute. But here, the Aserai, I'd have to pay 75-80 because they just declared war on me. So I don't want to pay that a day. I'm going to fight them. That's where having that fat stack of cash as kind of a cushion to buy you a period of peace while you build up your kingdom and recruit vassals. And now I know these Aserai are going to build a massive army to come up here and mess with my stuff. What I'm going to do is come right to the border and I'm going to start tearing stuff up. You want war with me? It's going to cost you, because that's going to give me, most importantly, a ton of food for my army. It's also going to make them very unhappy, and they're going to have to send their big-ass army out here to get me to stop. And that's what I'm really trying to do. I'm trying to provoke that big army they're going to send to me right out into the open. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm just going to go raid and destroy everything around here while I wait for their big army to come out. And then, depending on the size of that army, if I can take it with my royal army, I'll do that. But if I need more people, I can do that too, because I have vassals in my kingdom. And you can see I can put together a hella big army right here, and it'll barely cost me anything. But I don't need to do that right now because I don't know how big the army, if it's only 800-900, I'll easily crush it. But if it's 1,500-1,600, I'll probably recruit some more. And that's where recruiting vassals, other clans from other kingdoms, into your kingdom becomes very important, because you want to build up the power of your kingdom. You'll need more armies and you'll need more vassals. The best way to do it is just to go into the encyclopedia and take a peek. So here's the Northern Empire. And when I click on this clan, you'll see it brings up a bunch of info. In my experience, the number one determining factor on whether you can get a clan to come over to you or not is right here: their wealth. If it says that they're poor, it's very likely that you're going to be able to get them over to your side. Now, when it comes to recruiting clans, I really like to get clan tier 5 when I can. If you can find a poor clan tier 5, that's the best. All you'll do is you'll go up and talk to their clan leader, so you'll have to find the specific clan leader. And this is where the diplomacy mod becomes banger, because you can dispatch a messenger to this guy instead of having to run your 400-man personal army around trying to find this person. And then you're way out of your own territory, and then a faction declares war on you, and you got to run back to your it sucks, okay? You should have messengers, but if you're on console, you won't have that. But if you're on PC, I can't recommend the diplomacy mod. Even if you don't use any of the other features other than messengers, it's worth it because it's so nice to be able to send out a messenger to this guy and say, hey, you want to come play for the winning team? Here's a great example. This guy's clan tier 5. He's got a ton of members. Now, his clan strength's a little low because he just got crushed. And clan strength is a combination of your field armies and your garrison armies and includes any parties within your clan. So it's basically how many troops you have, but remember it also includes garrisons. And look, because I've taken over some Northern Empire towns that he owned, now all he has is a castle and he's broke. So this is a perfect candidate for recruitment. Now all I have to do is find him. The good news is he was part of the Northern Empire army I just crushed, and I was able to take him prisoner. And I've already spent a lot of time releasing them, and I think I merked for the Northern Empire for a while. So I have a lot of rep built up with him anyway. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to him. It just all comes down to checks. This includes your charm. Also, if he's an honorable guy and you're an honorable guy, like however you match up with them is going to come into it. But mostly it's about charm and relationship. And also remember, you have to have a lot of cash just to get to this screen. So you're going to need money, charm, and good relationship with this fella. And then you've got a shot. There we go. Right off the top, we hit that +2. Looking good so far. You know very well. Let's keep going. Ooh, swing and a miss on that one. Oh no, ineffective. It's not looking good. But, oh, we got a double swing here. Can I pull up? Oh, yeah. There it is. So I've convinced him to come to my side. But remember, I got to give him some change because he is taking a big step here. And now, oh, I'm so happy that worked. I'm going to hit auto offer. Look, 777,000. This is why I tell you you need money. You're going to have to buy vassals and you're going to have to buy peace. But it's no problem. And so you hit offer, and look, now he's super happy, and he comes over. And now when I go to kingdom and clans, I've got a new tier 5 clan with my boy Sachanian here and all his group. And look, got some youngins coming up, got a lot of kids. Outstanding. So I've already got this Argos clan, and you can see I've been dishing out fiefs to him because he was the first one to join me. So I made it rain. I support that kind of ambition. And that's my boy right there, my Mantios. We've been getting it on. His personal party size is like 200 something because he's a clan tier 5, right? So we get that policy that gives him extra 40 troops. And as you load him up with fiefs, it gets bigger. So what is his personal army size? Let's see. Manage. My boy Mantios. Look at that. 218 just in his own personal party. And I can grab him whenever I want. And we just recruited that new party in. So we'll let them build up their troops and stuff. And so that's how you recruit vassals to your faction. You just talk to them, make the pitch. They'll either say yes or no. Don't save scum. If they say no, it's okay. Let them go back to the losing side for a little bit. You just keep kicking ass and taking territory. And eventually, I promise you, they'll come to your side. What you want to create ultimately is a situation where your field army is out here taking out the enemy's big armies. And then what your vassals will do is they'll create secondary armies. Because look, between my vassals, they can put together a second army that's pretty good size, and they'll start taking territory, right? So you'll be out here taking out the armies, and they'll come lay siege to things, and that's when the steamroll really begins to happen. Okay, don't waste your troops in a damn siege. I mean, it's fine if you want to encourage the process from time to time. Do what you want. Maybe you have like a Sturgian army that's just amazing at siege or whatever. I'm not going to waste all my cavalrymen and horse archers attacking a damn castle. Okay. That's what my vassals are for. If they want territory, they can take it. Let them do their job. Their job is to serve you. Get to it. And one thing you can do is come into your diplomacy tab and you can set your kingdom strategy to offensive. And you can see right there, your vassals more inclined to raid and siege. And I like to do that because if any other kingdoms come to attack us, I'll just buy peace while I crush this army down here. And so I've got my fat stack of cash. I've recruited some vassals, and me and the royal army are out here rolling around looking for trouble. I love getting some dates for my army. A lot of fiber in dates. Keeps my boys regular. And these raided villages add up to your score. The enemy does not like their villages getting raided. Now, I know a lot of you don't like to raid because it hurts your reputation. First off, just release lords back out and you'll more than make up for the raiding reputation loss. Also, people will say, well, what if I need to recruit troops or anything, or it hurts your ability to recruit troops? At this level, most of my troops come from two places. Prisoners I take, and I just recruit high-level troops that way, or I come into my territory that's very built up. I have 2 castles and 2 towns that never get raided or attacked. I mean, they're just flush, which means their villages are full of high-level troops, high-level noble troops in the case of my castles, and high-level infantry and archers and whatever I need in my villages and towns. So even if I lost my army, I could fall back and recruit from my own villages, pretty much my full army. It wouldn't take hardly any time at all. I don't really need to worry about recruiting from other villages and stuff, and most certainly not these Aserai towns. Now, I probably would like to recruit an Aserai noble. We'll come into the Aserai. Look how many clans and everything. I mean, these guys are stacked right now. Clan tier 5, but average maybe. What's my rep with this guy? -2, probably from raiding his villages. But if you release him one time, you'll make up for that. So I would probably need to come down here and build some rep with these guys. Is there any poor ones? There we go. So this guy's poor. Now he looks old as fuck. 61, yeah. But what's his kid? 37. And what's nice about recruiting these guys is if I take over their towns, but I give it to an Empire Lord, it can have loyalty problems. But if I give it to an Aserai clan, it won't have those loyalty problems. Now, ultimately, you can overcome a lot of loyalty problems with some good policies, but it's just something to be aware of. Plus, it's kind of cool sometimes as you build your empire to have different factions, because then when you pull your giant imperial army together, you've got all these different types of troops in it, and I think that's kind of thematic and cool. In this case, however, they declared war on me, so we're going to take the war to them. And you can see this is what I'm doing. I'm not even messing around. I will scorch the entire Aserai lands until they come to fight me. When you're running around raiding, you're going to gather a ton of grain. I mean, an absolute ton of it. And you'll remember from the fief management video that food equals prosperity in your towns. So the best thing I like to do with it is I'll just dump it all off in my town, because I'm going to go out and raid more, and you're always going to get a bunch more grain. And now my town is stacked. Also, if a giant Aserai army comes out of the desert and attacks my town, we'll have food for days for the garrison. And you can see, I mean, I got meat for days. I don't need all this meat, but I'm going to hold on to the rest of this. Going back to my troops, look, I just hold a stack of 27 prisoners. I can recruit all 27 of these high-level troops. So I've got replacements coming in. So don't be afraid to raid, even Empire territory. And if I need more troops from here, look at all these high-level troops I have. That's the benefit of letting your towns build up, is you don't get a lot of peasants with no shields. I mean, you get a few, but you also get some high-level guys here. And I've got village after village, town after town, all in my name. Okay, so now here the Northern Empire comes. And now look at the change in diplomacy just from conducting those 9 successful raids. Remember earlier, to get peace would have cost me 7,000 something a day. Well, now it won't cost me a dime. So I'll not be paying any tribute. And I knocked that down in 17 days. That's the power of raiding. I know some of y'all don't like to do it, but raiding is one of the #1 ways to get the AI on its knees. I don't really want to push into Aserai territory right now. I'm not really interested in that. He's already got 2 wars going on. His strength is coming way down. Probably lost some battles to these 2 guys. His territories by me are in flames. And so now he's like, my bad. And you know what? We all make mistakes. I'm going to say, okay. Because I want to get back to carving up the Northern Empire. I just took Amprella and gave it to my new vassal that we recruited. But that's not going to be very built up. And so what we're going to do is take the royal army up there. And my cohesion's getting a little low. Go ahead and fill it right back up to 100. There we go. That's what we're looking for. We're going to highlight these guys. Where are they headed to? Beautiful. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. This is your job as the king. Don't go sieging and taking territory. Leave that to your vassals. We want to crush guys in the field and recruit vassals, right? So we're in the Northern Empire. Let's see who else we could grab real quick. We're going to go to the Northern Empire. That's the leader clan. He's not going to come. That guy's rich. This guy's poor. So we could look for Guyfer. Now, his clan strength kind of sucks, but sometimes their clan strength's down because they've been losing battle after battle. And actually, I mean, it looks like he's got a lot of party members in here. This guy's 46. This guy's, I mean, these guys are pretty young. He's got a lot of guys coming up. This is actually, I think, a good grab for me, this Guyfer guy. So I'm going to keep a lookout for him because I'm fighting the Northern Empire. Now, I could run around the map and try to find him, but ultimately he'll probably end up in one of their big armies and then I'll capture him. And then I'll just let everybody else go so that I can build my rep. What's my rep with this guy? Only 4, so I don't know. I got a lot of money. We'll see what he says. Who else we got? Geminon. Geminon has a pretty good sized clan strength, although I think I like the Guyfer guy's clan better. You really want to look at how many members they have, if they've died. How old's this guy? He's only 21 though. That's kind of nice. And they'll have kids and they'll create more family members. And remember, the women do count as party leaders at times. So Geminon, Guyfer, we'll keep those two out. And you can see, because I've taken so much northern territory, there's a lot of poor clans. And it just goes on down. So really any of these. Serenor, these are some great options. So pretty much anyone with a title, and that'll tell you if they're the party leader. If they have that Archon title, those are the ones you want to take prisoner if you want to recruit them. And so we'll go ahead and just fight this battle. Isn't that beautiful? With the snow? Like one of them snow globes you shake up, right? God, this game is incredible. The great thing is once you start fighting big battles like this, you're just going to make a ton of money. A ton of money from the prisoners, a ton of money from the loot. You're going to get just pounds of food. So you're going to be well stocked. You're going to get prisoners, especially when you're fighting Empire armies. You get Empire prisoners that you can recruit directly into your army. So you pretty much instantly replace any casualties you take with more high-level troops. An amazing victory yet again, of course. And you can see 29 KIA, 100 some wounded, raking in the renown, ton of influence, more morale, and the amount of loot you get is incredible. Now, see here, he says Archon. That means he's a bigwig. I'm keeping him, and I just release everybody else that doesn't have a title. The Archons, though, I keep because those are the head of the family, and I can recruit them if I want to. You can see the prisoners I've got here, top tier, and I can just grab the ones I want, and I can sell these. Now, the best thing to do is if they're going to attack a town, let them lay siege to the town before you attack, and then you can grab all these guys and go right into the town and sell them, and that's tens of thousands of gold. In this case, however, I won't be able to do that because we're too far from a town. So I'll just grab as many as I can to sell, and I won't want to sell these ones, right? So I'll mark them as, hey, don't trade these guys. Another thing is, look at all this loot. I mean, just look at all this loot. It keeps going and going and going and going and going and going. If your clan parties take a lot of casualties, just disband them. Let them go recruit some guys. And then call them back to the army. And look, I showed you if you lock them down, and then I just click over here, it won't sell these guys. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. If I just sell all the loot, and that's not even the horses and the horse armor and stuff, or all the food, which I'm already stacked again, I've got 62 grand and I'm at negative 39. So it's like 100,000 gold from one battle. That's what I'm telling you. You don't need, people tell you need 5, 10 million to start a kingdom. You don't. You're going to be able to buy whatever piece you need. You're going to be able to afford all the clan parties you want if you just fight big battles and you use your royal army to do so. And then, like I said, let your vassals go kick ass. And then you sell all that and we're back on the prowl. Here they come again, right? So then I attack this army and I would keep the archons or the high level guys. And we already looked at some nobles that I'm kind of eyeing. And so if one of them is captured, then I can try to recruit them. If they don't want to come, fine. Throw them in jail. They can sit and think about it while you take their fiefs and stuff. You keep destroying the enemy army, and I promise you, eventually they will come to your side because they'll be so broke they'll have to. Once you have some vassals, you'll see the steamroll really begins to fire up. It's the cycle of crush and conquer, and you just keep it rolling until all submit to your greatness. Or you get tired of this playthrough and want to fire up another campaign. Just put this one on ice. Come back to it from time to time when you want to play with this army composition and fight in some big battles. The most important thing from Clan Tier 0 all the way up to Monarch is having fun. Best get to it. Oklahoma out.